Welcome to the Companion Chapel Everyday Bible Study broadcast. My name is Mike, coming to you from the Great Lakes area of beautiful Ontario, Canada, on this gorgeous Tuesday, April 4th, 2023. Coming right up, it is the book of Daniel, chapter 2. This was Nebuchadnezzar's dream, and this is about the rise and fall of empires. Remember, all God's prophecies occur and develop in partial and preliminary happenings before they become fulfilled and permanent, as it's written. All these things are for examples for us. That's how human beings learn, by example. It happened before, over and over and over again. The rise and fall of an empire. Daniel chapter 2. Please first consider your part in the many-membered body of Christ. The Companion Chapel is a registered nonprofit ministry. You can get a hold of me here at the Companion Chapel. Companion Chapel email is companionchapel@gmail.com. And if you would like to support this ministry for $10, I can send you one of these. And just leave me an email or go to companionchapel.com for a $10 donation. Wouldn't that just be the greatest thing to have one of these beautiful infinity chain necklaces? You'll put it with your favorite things, or you will hang it off the mirror of your pickup truck. Whatever you please. They're really nice. They're really cool for a $10 donation. This is a registered nonprofit ministry. Now, please turn with me in your Bibles to Daniel chapter 2. And this is the greatest thing. And in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams wherewith his spirit was troubled and his sleep brake from him. It just means he couldn't sleep. That's all it means. He had a bad dream. Poor King Nebuchadnezzar. And the king commanded to call the magicians, the astrologers, the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans to show the king his dreams. So they stood before him. Okay, so the king calls in his cronies, the bureaucrats, the scientific community, the religious community, the king's advisors, his staff, his consultants. And also who would be in there would be, in today's world, kings with no sovereign kingdom. The people, unelected political leaders, unelected world leaders, but let's just say he's got himself surrounded here, and he's not a happy guy. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, which just means Aramaic, O king, live forever. Here's a little key for you. It's O king, kava, forever, translated beast all through the Bible, but here they translated it live. O king, may your ongoing system of things be forever. They didn't say king beast forever, like the translators put that word beast all the time for that word, but king live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, and these were like the scholars. Babylon had a southern part where they had a university, and this would be like, again, his consultants, his staff, his advisors. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. I forgot my dream. If you will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, you should be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. Like, I'm going to cut you into pieces. I'm not even going to tell you the dream, but I'm so tired of you, your consultants. He's tired of these people. He's tired of being surrounded by phonies. And Nebuchadnezzar was no slouch. He wrote Daniel chapter 4. And Nebuchadnezzar's the king here, and he's had it with these phonies. And that's why he puts them in a no-win situation, obviously. That's beyond all reasonables to think, I had a dream, I'm not going to tell you, and if you don't tell me the interpretation, I'm going to cut you into pieces, and I'm going to wipe out your household also. But if you show the dream and the interpretation thereof, you shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore show me the dream and the interpretation thereof. They answered again and said, let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation thereof. Listen, give us something to work with so that we can make it up. Like, that's just like the scientific community today. Like, they just need a little bit to work with, and it's weak science, flawed with variables. They'll make something up that sounds good. It's like the scientific community today. They rely on interpretations of incomplete sets of evidence, and then they try to weave together data and observation with theory and hypothesis, and then they'll put something out there for us. That's what happens today, and the king's sick of this. And in today's world, these people that do this scientific community, geologists, archaeologists, paleontologists, or here, the astrologers, sorcerers, magicians. Never read over that word sorcerer. When you read from the last page of your Bible backwards, that's pharmacia. But, they have a financial interest in the outcome. And today it's all for clickbait, obviously. And anyways, I'm just getting off topic there. But I'm just saying phonies. And they answered and they said, let the king tell a dream. And the king answered, said, I know of certainty that you would gain the time because you see the thing is gone from me. Like you're trying to buy time here. But if you will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you. I'm going to cut you up into little pieces, he said. And the king can't go back on his decree. Once the king says it, that's it. Because if the king says something and then goes back on it, he's going to look weak around his cronies, the bureaucrats, the scientists. He's going to look like a phony. For you have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me. Hey, it's just like today, talking about empires here. Till the time be changed. Therefore tell me the dream, and I shall know that you can show me the interpretation thereof. No insinuation here. The Chaldeans answered before the king and said, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore, there is no king, lord, nor ruler that has asked such things at any magician or astrologer or Chaldean. He's saying this can't be done. But what the king's saying here is, listen, you set up all these gods and you worship all these things. Your religious authority is made up. He's calling their bluff here. He's saying, if you guys are really coming and telling me all kinds of advisory stuff and you're my bureaucrats, my cronies, you're the scientific community, and you're claiming that this comes from your God, then have your God tell me my dream and the interpretation thereof. And they're saying it can't be done. So they're admitting they're phonies when it comes down to it. And it is a rare thing that the king requireth. They carry on here. And there is none other that can show it before the king except the gods who dwelleth not in the flesh. Well, why don't you consult your gods then, your statues and your things? What are the gods now? When people say they're not religious to me, I always say religion just means follower of one's own beliefs. That's it. And worship just means what you have faith in. Well, we know people now have faith in money. Political leaders are going to take care of us, which is a joke. The worst one that Daniel said in yesterday's lesson when we did chapter 7 was the one world information, the media, the one world education system to change people's religious authority to deception. Nebuchadnezzar's sick of getting deceived. He's had it here. Like he's ready to cut these people into little pieces. Okay, so go to your gods. Well, why didn't they go to their gods? Because they know they're phonies. They're phonies. And phony people today are a drag. And what we pray for everybody, always pray for everybody. Finger pointing is forbidden in the Bible. Now, for this cause, the king was angry and very furious and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. And you know what Babylon means? It means confusion. Okay, so, and 13. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard. That would have been like the chief of police, going around rounding everybody up. Obviously, the police system has been militarized here. They're going around to round people up to kill them, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. So Arioch was just chief of police, the captain here. He answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, this is Daniel talking to the Arioch, why is the decree so hasty from the king? Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time and that he would show the king the interpretation. So that goes to show how far up there in the ranks Daniel was, that he could walk in and have a face-to-face with the king, and that the chief of police just didn't throw him in the clink and then have him cut into little pieces. So Daniel was well respected. Okay, what did Daniel do here? This is key. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, also known as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. 18. That they would desire mercies of the God of heaven. They're saying their prayers concerning the secret, that Daniel and his fellow servants should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in the night vision. And Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Thank you, God. He prayed for it. He consulted the Lord. And watch through this. He always gives credit to God. He never gives credit to himself. Pay homage to God is what's being said. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. All wisdom, understanding, counsel, knowledge, and strength, all reverence in the Holy Spirit belongeth to God through our Lord Jesus Christ the Father, as it's written right now. 21, and he changes the times and the seasons. What does God do? We know from Psalms 90, God dwells. We cohabitate with God in the circuits of time, and he's running a circuit right now, and he's not very happy with 1/3 of his children. Unless we repent, then all the angels rejoice. God wants his children back, but they can only be reconciled to the Lord Jesus Christ. And it's a simple book to follow. It's a simple set of rules. But this is what God does. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise. Stop there for a second. You can't give wisdom to a fool. Give wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. Now let's go. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. Is this, what else is written about this? Daniel chapter 4, verse 17. The Most High God ruleth the kingdom of men, and giveth to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of all men. The lowest of all human beings end up being the top political leaders. Why is that? Like, why would God do that? Like, you can see it playing out on the world stage today. The basest of men end up being the world political leaders, because evil has to be exposed and burn itself out. It has to be totally exposed before the Lord Jesus Christ will come back and wrap up the affairs of time on this flesh age, because that is God's plan, plot, and purpose. All the evil in the world comes from the human heart. It has to come out and be exposed so that we can all see it. God's not judging what happens to you. He's judging what you do and how you handle it. The basis of men. And we can see that right now. There's no praise or presence of God in any of these world leaders today. Look at this planet. Just absolute pandemonium. Fueled by ruthless, unadulterated greed. Attitudes of obscene entitlement. So God revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. There's a huge key of David here. First of all, Hebrews 4, God knows your thoughts and intents. We know that's your psyche. That's this closed system as far as the laws of thermodynamics are concerned. It cannot take on physical matter, your psyche, your spirit, the intellect of your soul, your reactive attitude that motivates all actions. It goes somewhere when you die. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Oh, this nagging nuisance flesh body back in the dirt. It can exchange physical matter. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just goes, this energy is just transformed back into God's perfect ecosystem. But this energy, your psyche, your spirit, it goes somewhere when you die. God knows right now he's connected to all of us. We're connected to each other also. He knows the secret things. He knows the darkness. Now the key word here is light. And this word light is the illumination of insight, the illumination of wisdom. This is the Aramaic equivalent of the word meor. And it's also used again in Daniel chapter 5:14. Where do we see that masculine noun meor? You can't skip over this. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 to 18. The two unique light givers, they meor. That light that shines from the sanctuary, that word meor, that masculine noun, is only used of the light that comes from the sanctuary, that is set up. God made it. He prepared it. Our Lord Jesus Christ is the light. He is the truth. He is the great separating force between right and wrong, good and evil, and heaven and hell. But there is a lesser of the two unique light givers that you can summon. That's the magistrate of the world. You can summon him for wisdom and insight, and he'll play into all your longings and wantings that you'll chase to the bitter end, and you'll never, ever be satisfied. The longings and wantings of the flesh, the emptiness of the material world, and the meaningless and senselessness of the superficial world. that'll get you nowhere except wanting and longing. That word light here is one of the keys of David that runs through the Bible. It's one of the glossary threads that runs through the Bible that helps us understand Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 to 18, God made. That means he prepared for this flesh age. It has every commentator I've ever heard said that's the sun, the moon, and the stars. But it's never used as a planet. It's always used as that light that comes from the sanctuary. And remember, Ezekiel chapter 28, Satan defiled the sanctuary. He cast doubt on the truth. That's Satan's currency, to clutter the mind, to clutter your psyche. Okay, let's get on with this here. Darkness. We are children of the light. Daniel, again, I thank thee and praise thee, thou God of my fathers. Always give it up for God. Always give thanks to God, who has given me wisdom and might, and has made known unto me now what we desired of thee, for thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter. Okay, now he knows the dream and the interpretation. Let's get going here. 24. Therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. And he went and said thus unto him, destroy not the wise men of Babylon, bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought Daniel before the king in haste. Why? Because Arioch doesn't want to go around killing people that he's kicking it with, like his buddies, his friends, other bureaucrats, the cronies and stuff. He doesn't want to go around just wiping out people. Right away, he chop. He went and, okay, let's do this. And said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captives of Judah that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, because when they got brought into the captivity from Judea, Nebuchadnezzar gave him different names. So Daniel, Belteshazzar, okay, that's just his new Aramaic name. Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen and the interpretation thereof? And Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the king, this is the king. There's an article there. We're talking about King Nebuchadnezzar. And said, the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers, all your phonies that you surrounded yourself with, show unto the king. But there is a God in heaven, Yahweh, that revealeth secrets, and maketh known unto the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. There's a huge key there. In the latter days. This is prophecy. This is for us now. Okay, all these things happen in partial and preliminary happenings before they become fulfilled and permanent. That's how God's word is. It was, is, and always will be. He sets things up for examples for us, so we see patterns. That's how intelligent people solve problems. They see something happening, and they act accordingly. They govern themselves accordingly. Now, thy dream and the vision of thy head upon thy bed is this. Now, it's about us in the here and now. Now, watch this. Every empire comes and goes. But we're talking about an empire, that tree of knowledge of good and evil, that has shrouded the whole world. It shrouded the entire planet. Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom was just a localized area over in Iraq. We have a kingdom now that is, or an empire now, that we're going to refer to. And that's what we're talking about here today. The latter days. Okay. As for thee, king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he, that's God, that revealeth secrets, make known to thee what shall come to pass. Straight from God. Not from me. Daniel's giving credit to God. But as for me, the secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom, not for my wisdom, that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. Okay, ready? Let's get on with this. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold an image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. Like it was just overwhelmed. This is something you can't ignore. It's got us all. The image's head was of fine gold, his breasts and his arms of silver, his belly, his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Okay, stop there. Now, let's talk about this. We have 6 basic things here. if you have an ounce of gold and then you have an ounce of silver, that ounce of gold has a higher volume of weight. Like gold is, this thing is top heavy is what I'm saying. Okay, so if you have gold on the top, then silver, then brass, it's heavy. This thing is top heavy. And then when you get to iron and clay don't mix. There's a problem here. This thing is going to fall down. We're talking about an empire here. And we'll go over how empires rise and fall. But you can see the gold on the top is decadence. And when you get all the phonies drawing all the wealth, there's a great transfer of wealth from the poor and from the middle class to the rich. And you have another control military and everything else. We'll go over that in a minute. But let's just stay here on this image of an empire that's going to fall. And what happens? Now this is how we know this is the end times. Because thou sawest till that stone was cut without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and then break into pieces. We know this from Psalms 118 and other places. Jesus Christ is our rock. He is our only stability. He is that chief cornerstone. He is the capstone. As it's written. Then the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broke into pieces together and became like chaff of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. King Christ, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, great mountain, great nation. We're talking about the millennium nation. We're talking about God's nation. It's God's world. This is God's universe. And he's getting rid of the world of evil. These empires that come up, these evil empires, they look good. They're evil on the inside. Evil will destroy itself. But on this end one, the Lord Jesus Christ wraps up the affairs of time on this flesh age. And that's what we're talking about here. This is mankind's system of things. Mankind has a 100% failure rate at governing ourselves. And what we're talking about here is the fall of this end-time empire, which clearly is the United States of America. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof. Thou, O King, art King of kings. For the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, strength, and glory. This kingdom. And when we refer to kings in a few more verses, we're talking about foundations of power. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thy hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. So at the top, we have the world political leaders and the unelected world leaders sitting at the top, ruling over everybody right now. And it's all basically starts in Washington, D.C., because they have a military hold on the planet Earth. They have a financial hold on planet Earth. And it's going to crumble. After these shall rise another kingdom inferior to thee. That's another foundation of power. And a third foundation of power, which of brass, which shall rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron shall breaketh into pieces and subdue all things, as the iron that breaketh all these things, it shall break into pieces and bruise. So we have four things, four foundations of power that are destroying planet Earth right now. The one world media, education system, which is the worst one, as we found out from Daniel chapter 7, is psychological warfare. The money's all being controlled by unelected world leaders. Political systems are being controlled by unelected world leaders. This is an empire. The education system, the global media, is changing our religious authority to believe in the one world, this economy. And we're watching it. We're watching the political systems play out right now when they're going to make it into a digital currency. And they're crushing us. They've taken all the money. It's called decadence. Excess wealth for a few. And who now think they are world leaders. Another control military. Massive transfer of wealth from middle class to the rich. This system of things that we're talking about here. We have four. What?
I'm asking a question.
What's the question? Sorry.
The question would be, isn't Canada tied into this closely?
Oh. Of course they are. Canada is just United States' sniveling little sister. But we know that Canada is run by Klaus Schwab now, because Klaus Schwab always mentions Canada. You know, the World Economic Forum, they control the money, always mentions Canada as, oh, we have Justin Trudeau is in our back pocket. Quote. That's a quote from Klaus Schwab. Justin Trudeau is in our back pocket. Like, Justin Trudeau is a member of the World Economic Forum's Youth World Leaders Initiative program, and so is half of our Liberal Senate. So Canada has already caved into this thing. Canada has already passed a bill where when we want your money, we're just going to take it. And it's going to be help pay off the debt. And then we're going to go to a digital currency. Now, when they wanted everybody's money before, ask the people in Greece, Cyprus, ask the people in Spain, ask the people in Venezuela, ask the people in Lebanon. When they want your money, they're just going to take it. And and the empire can't stand. And you see what happens to these places. So, okay, it's a kingdom with kings, which just means foundations of power. It cannot stand. And the fourth kingdom, okay, so break it into pieces and bruise. That's verse 40. And bruise just means bring to ruin. It's a Chali word, rea, and it's the same word as breaketh in the last verse. It just brings it to ruin. And we know by Daniel chapter 7 that we went over yesterday what happens. Empires fall. There's no empire, there's no system of money on planet Earth that's ever maintained. So what makes you think United States is going to be any different? But the thing about United States is they're out of control military. There are 90 military bases surrounding China. Then they use the education system, the global media, to try and convince us that China's the aggressor. I want to ask you something. What if China started building military bases down here, Gulf of Mexico, through the Caribbean Sea? What happened when Russia tried to build a military base in Cuba? Yet somehow, through the global media, just destitute of truth, because they sell it through patriotism and lies, 90 military bases. That doesn't include the military outposts. And then now 31, Finland just joined. 32, including Ukraine, NATO nations. Like, what are you doing there, man? Reagan made a deal. So did George Bush Sr. No, we will not expand NATO into the old Warsaw area. And then Clinton comes in and they just do it. Who's the aggressor here? Who's sending billions of dollars of weapons of mass destruction? You're going to get us all killed. This empire cannot stand. What else is going on in this empire? Desire to give to the rich. Yeah, people want to make money from their financial portfolios, so they're just giving the rich more and more money. A major sexual obsession, the moral decay of society. Oh, really? How's that not hard to see? Here's the axis of evil here. Washington, D.C., the New York Stock Exchange, including BlackRock especially, and Hollywood. There's your axis of evil right there. And it's too bad, because the American people are all caught up in it, and so are we. Yes, the young lady in the front.
So would you say that COVID also helped with the transfer of funds from the poor and the middle class up to the wealthy?
Well, COVID-19 was a laboratory construct. There's no doubt about it. COVID-19, coronavirus, was, deliberately released because the same people get rich. When you think about who made money off of this, I'm not going to say, I can't say the word, I can only say, roll up your sleeve and have this pharmaceutical intervention. Because the same person that's doing this, one of the world economic leaders, makes tens of billions of dollars off pharmaceutical interventions. And then we'll just talk about that, how the information system is changing, how it influences people. Here we have a pharmaceutical intervention. Okay, we have a laboratory construct that's getting people sick, but that COVID-19 has a 99.94% recovery rate, unless you have an underlying issue. But if you get pneumonia and you have an underlying issue, that'll kill you also, or influenza. But anyways, so they come up with this thing, and through the worst one, the education system, the global media, to obsessive messaging. They created an obscene mob scene. They created an absolute distrust, just hatred between people for something against, I'll just say me personally, who took the time to study the data report package. Does it stop transmission? No. Does it stop infection? No. Does it stop reinfection? No. Where does it go when it goes in the body? Does it stay in the shoulder like the New York Times and the Washington papers and all this global media was telling us? No. Through nanolipid particles, it goes to every tissue in the body. Well, what's it doing? Does it, is there viral load or efficacy like these people reported over and over and over again? Impossible. There was never a placebo-controlled study group to prove this. So when they have Jean Small, the executive for Pfizer, and I'm watching the most boring channel on planet Earth, European Senate, and there she is, and they said these things like, why did you release that pharmaceutical intervention to get the jab, to get a needle in your arm? And she said, for market demand, for shareholder value. It's right on our website. If you want a pharmaceutical intervention, we will give you one. And we don't care if it works or not, because we've paid $30 billion in criminal penalties since 2009 for the exact same things that we're doing now. Defrauding regulators, falsifying science, lying to the public, lying to doctors, bribing doctors, lobbying politicians. Here's your cronies and your slouches, destroying an empire. And guess who gets rich off it? You think the cronies and the slouches, the bureaucrats, didn't invest in these pharmaceutical companies, knowing that every country on planet Earth was about to sign a contract with Big Pharma? They're career criminals. And they have you convinced through this information system to come on in. Just roll up your sleeve. Come on. Come on. We're not career criminals. That's not who we are. And if you don't roll up your sleeve, you're selfish. And we're going to institute massive institutional discrimination against you. You're not allowed in arenas. You're going to lose your job. You're not allowed on the bus. You're not allowed on trains. You're not allowed to protest about it either. Does that answer your question, young lady? Sitting in the front?
Yes, my point was more about just it making the rich richer.
Well, we're talking about decadence here, and that's how they make themselves richer. They use the global media, and they're just sucking the life out of the poor. There's over 600,000 people in the United States living on hard homeless. That's inexcusable. There's over $400 trillion in world assets, and it's decadence. It's the same people get rich off war, off all human tragedy and misery, off big pharma, big chemical, big food, and big military. It's the same people. It's decadence right now, and it's the end of an empire. Okay, so let's get back here. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes of the part of the potter's clay and part of the iron, the kingdom shall be divided. This foundations of power shall be divided. Clay and iron do not stick. It's built up on what was supposed to be a democracy. But I'll ask you something. If this is a democracy, United States or even Canada, who can we vote for to stop this madness? Nobody. Because the foundations of power of the unelected world leaders, the money, the United States industrial military complex, and the lobbyists of Big Pharma have all the power. They have all the money. They're using us as surplus, expendable, and unless we can make them money somehow, a healthy population does not make Big Pharma money. And no war does not make the military industrial complex money. And they're trying to control the oil, regime change, and then they try and tell us, just lies. Now that I'm on this, where's the United States gone anywhere with their military? And they've been in 190 countries since World War II. Where have they gone and made it a better place? Nowhere. They're just going and ruin everything. Just bomb the hell out of everything and then control the oil through their money. Now watch what Saudi Arabia is about to do. Hey, it's been a good run, United States. You got that deal in 1974 with Saudi Arabia that all the oil is going to be bought in American dollars. Well, it's coming to an end. They're going to sign that deal. It's coming to an end. And the United States, what are they going to do? Go attack Saudi Arabia now? Well, they all lined up to attack China. Like, you got out of control military. This is the end of an empire. This is how they all start. I don't have to read those ones. End of an empire. Emphasis on propaganda to distract people from what is really going on. Division, distrust, individualism. What's your way out? God gives you a way out. He tells you over and over in the Bible, assemble yourselves, my peculiar people. Assemble yourselves. Be ready for this. Look what's happened to Lebanon, Greece, and all the countries where all of a sudden the money was just worthless. Venezuela also. Every African country. In Venezuela, they find money in the garbage. A YouTuber walked through there the other day. He said, look at all this money in the garbage. It is worthless. And the people are in the dump eating garbage. Because the United States put so many economic sanctions on Venezuela. Hey, Chavez has died a long time ago. Can't you get over it? Like, what a brutal, satanic system of things. And a great people. It's the saddest thing. And your sniveling little sister up there is just ready to fold like a cheap lawn chair right into Klaus Schwab's arms. Okay, let's go. Okay, clay and iron don't stick together. The kingdom falls. The kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. It falls apart like a cheap lawn chair. Whereas thou sawest iron mixed with the miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Division, distrust, disorder, that's what this system set up. Individualism. Totally walked away from the concept of God. We're all part of the human family. Race, your gender, color of your skin, whatever, is an illusion. We're all part of God's human family. We are spiritual beings going through a human experience. It's supposed to be about togetherness, taking care of each other, sacrificing for one another, not pointing fingers at each other, trying to prove the other person wrong. Have you ever tried to have a conversation with people lately? Like it's one way. Like, they're going to try and prove that they're right, and if they think that they've proven that they're right to you, they win. A bunch of scorekeepers. It's about coming with, like Jesus Christ teaches us, to come to an understanding of others, to be gentle with others, compassionate. You listen. We're part of the human family. It's about going back to a place of peace beyond our present comprehension, a place of unity, a place of safety, security. There is no such word as uncertainty. Perpetual friendship. Assemble yourselves, my peculiar people, in the here and now. The warning signs are there. The signs are there. The seasons are there. It was all written before. Companion Chapel Homesteading Community, get a hold of us today here at companionchapel@gmail.com, an independent food system where it's about us, not about me or what's in it for me or what's in it for you. How does this benefit me? It's about us coming together as a human family so we can prepare ourselves to get out of these flesh bodies and get back to a place of peace beyond our present comprehension. Dwell with God in the circuits of time. As it's written, cohabitate with God in the circuits of time in our spiritual bodies. Okay, the rest of this, and the days of these kings shall come, and the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall not be destroyed. Sets up the millennium kingdom. We have to get cleaned up still before we can go back to be with Father Yahweh 1,000 years. The kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall be broken to pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. All these foundations of power. The millennium period. Yeah, bring it on, Lord Jesus Christ. What are you waiting for? Like, for as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain, that's our Lord Jesus Christ, this great nation, God, his nation, his ruling, governing power, without hands, and that it break into pieces the iron, the brass, clay, silver, gold, that great God, Yahweh, our Father, who art in heaven, sacred is thy name, hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof is sure. It's absolute, dude. This is going down now. You had a good run, America. You had a chance to make that the Garden of Eden, but your policies, mankind has a 100% failure rate at governing themselves. The Biden crime family, like, we pray for these people, but just seriously, you can't even look at this guy on the TV anymore. The American officials are either unable or unwilling, or both, to tell the truth. And through patriotism and trying to drum up, oh, it's terrorism, these guys over here could care less about over there if you would just buzz off. But these unelected, or the congressmen, are saying, well, if we don't go over there and bomb the hell out of them, like drop a bomb every 9 minutes for 8 solid years like Obama did and then get a Nobel Peace Prize, then they're going to come over here and fight us in our streets. Like, who believes these people? Who believes these lies? The biggest act of ecological terrorism ever in the history of humanity, blowing up those pipelines. Who threatened the pipelines? Well, does the New York Times, just destitute of truth, did they ever report that Joe Biden threatened the pipelines in February 2022 right on TV, right in front of us all? Just go back and look for it. They just bury it in their archives, but anyone can watch it. In January 2022, the press secretary threatened the pipeline, saying, we'll stop that pipeline. Joe Biden said, we'll stop that pipeline. The press gallery's going, how are you going to stop that pipeline? Ooh, hard question. We have the means. Condoleezza Rice also said, this is American policy. We can't have pipelines coming out of the Russian area. This is our market here. We control the oil. Same with Obama. He said the same thing. That's American policy. They went over, they threatened it, they blew it up, and now they're trying to get the American public thinking there's aliens coming and Chinese spy balloons, as if the Chinese, who are so technology advanced and have satellites up there that can read license plates, would float a balloon over the United States like it's 1950. Watch this coming together. You see the signs. It is the season, and that's how the empires fall. It's too bad. It's a sad thing, but that's the way she goes. God's going to wrap up the affairs of time in this flesh age sooner than later. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel and commanded that he should be offered an oblation of sweet odors. And okay, he's going to get treated better now. The king answered unto Daniel and said, of truth it is that your God is the God of gods, Lord of kings, and revealer of secrets. Seeing thou couldst reveal the secret, he's our revealer. Then there's nothing hid that shall not be revealed. Don't kid yourself. Then the king made Daniel a great man. It's like the truth only gets smoke screened. That's what the locust army is doing right now. Smoke screening the truth, but the truth is always there. You can't prove a lie. Like, you can't prove a falsehood. But they try through obsessive messaging from the media. And this is how empires fall. Then the king made Daniel a great man and gave him many great gifts, and ruler over the whole province of Babylon and chiefs of the governors. Okay, he's right up there. And watch this. Watch how good of a guy Daniel is. And Daniel requested the king that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon, but Daniel sat in the gate of the king. That's the highest judge point. You come to me with your problems. I'm going to use this Bible. I'm going to solve them because it has a linear progression towards the truth in all matters. And Daniel was a great guy. He didn't forget his friends. Isn't that something? Because in the book of Samuel, when people got up close to King David, they just left their friends behind. They didn't even care. So what a great story about kingdoms. They come and go, and only one kingdom now ever in the history of mankind has had its branches shrouding the entire planet. And it's too bad. And it's a sad thing, but that's the way she goes. Time marches on. Let's get on with it. I want to thank you very much for watching. Have yourself a great day, and bye for now.